For work experience, I went to the Port of Felixstowe in Suffolk.
So I went to 3 different work experiences. The first one was Econ, and that's in Ripon, and they make like the spreaders and the gritters, and that was a mechanical engineering one. Then I went to Ripon Farm Services, and that was more fixing up tractors. And then my last one was to Jacobs, which was in Leeds, and that was a civil engineering firm.
My work experience was at Aston Martin, and I worked in product development for a week with a range of different areas within that.
I've always had connections with Felixstowe, and I go there for a lot of holidays every year, and so I've always been aware of the port there, and so I thought this would be a perfect place because there aren't really any ports near here.
So I knew I wanted to be an engineer, but I didn't know what I wanted to specialise in because I've never really had much experience engineering. But I knew because I do DT and I do systems and control, so we do a lot of electronics and mechanics and things like that.
Mr. Walker is very helpful, and he just said, go for something that interests you, even if it feels like you're not going to get there. Just try your hardest and go for something. And it's sort of a company that I've always admired. So I sent in my application form.
To learn more about what is quite a closeted industry, not many people know about it in the UK, and yeah, it's so vital to everything that we do. So just to learn more and get a better grasp of what I'll have to do to succeed at sea.
Sort of like a real insight into the world of work and an insight into engineering, because that's what I'd like to do in the future.
So in the days where I was dockside, I got to go on various different ships which were in the port at the time. These included roll and roll-off ferries, which was the Selandia Seaways, and the container ships Express Rome and Maersk Kotka, which had come. The Express Rome had come from Singapore, and Maersk Kotka from the USA. And to learn about what life was like on board, I got to go on the bridge and look at cargo operations and have ship tours on both vessels.
So with all of them I worked with engineers. In Econ I spent a day in each different department, which was good, so I met a range of different types of engineer. So there was electronics, there was welding, there was the basic build, then there was like assembling the actual spreaders, which was really good. Then in Econ I was based with one certain mechanic, and we went round and did a lot of different types of things. And then the civil engineering, again, I worked, so the morning and the afternoon of every day I'd do separate things, so I got to experience all the different departments, and they were all qualified, they were all civil engineers, but some of them had gone into different routes. So there was like geotech, which was more geographical, and geology, but then there was also the designers designing bridges. Then I got to work with the architects and building surveyors.
So every day I was with a different person. So I was in electrical, so they had electrical rigs of all the cars with all of the stuff. So if there was a problem in one of the actual cars, they could look at the rig and see inside the car essentially, so they could see what's gone wrong. And then I was working in like design areas, so design of internal environment, and then the like prototyping and stuff like that.
The day I was over at Harwich, they control all of the sea traffic around Felixstowe for that area, and so it's like air traffic control but with ships. So I got to see their building where they control everything, and they also provide the pilots for Felixstowe. So I got to go out on the pilot boat out to sea to collect the pilot off the ship called the APL Charleston, and then I was lucky enough to drive the pilot boat back to Harwich. I think getting hands-on on the ships was probably the best thing, as it's something I never thought I'd be able to do, and something that not many people will be able to do when they're as young as me.
I think it was trying something new, and just how informative it is. It teaches you about what working in the real world after we leave school is going to be like. It opens you up to all the different routes you could take, talking to the people that work there, learning about how they got into the job, and then so yeah, that teaches you all the different routes you could take, and there's a lot more than I thought. I used to think it was A levels, then uni, and then job, but it turns out it's not. You can find any way to get there, and just finding out what you enjoy most. And I didn't know, and I wanted to be an engineer, but I didn't know how much I loved it until I started working. It was really good.
A lot of people skills, definitely. Sort of every day meeting a new person sort of brought on the new challenge of trying to get to know that person and sort of engage myself in what they were doing. So ask lots of questions, definitely important. To sort of, if you just sit there and do nothing, then it's a bit pointless. So you need to get stuck in, and just people skills is probably my main thing that I've enhanced.
And definitely communication, and about how to be with other people on board ships, because there aren't many British seafarers around, especially not on cargo ships. So you've got to learn about different nationalities in order to get along with everyone.
Quite sure that I didn't want to go on to do civil engineering, but I thought it was because I didn't know much about it. I didn't want to just decide not to do it without having any experience. So I went there just to see what it was like, and it turned out it was way more interesting than I thought. And it's made my decision a lot harder now because I'm considering it more seriously than I was before.
I'm really interested in doing something like this. Definitely design engineering sort of thing, and it sort of opened up sort of the different doors. I thought it was quite sort of a one-way street, but there's a lot of sort of places you can go along the way.
I learned so much from first-hand experience, because there isn't a lot online about it. Because as I said, it's an industry that not many people know about until they're actually in it. So yeah, I learned a lot from people who are actually in the job at the moment.
I did actually get a drive in an Aston Martin, which was
Wow.
we were doing testing to check sort of as the car mileage had to be done every day. So I went out in that, and that was really interesting. But I wouldn't say necessarily that was the most interesting thing. It was talking to the people and sort of looking around at how amazing the company was.
I'd definitely say go for it. Whatever you want to do, whether it's near or far, definitely try and make it work, because it's always going to pay off for you, and every little bit of experience counts.
I'd say don't take the easy way out and do something, don't go just work for your parents just because it's easy. I'd say even if it's scary or difficult, do what you think will be best for you in the long run, because I know some of my friends, they went to do what was easiest and went with their parents or company they knew, and it wasn't helpful to them in the long run, and they didn't enjoy it. But the amount that you can get out of a good work experience, it's a waste if you don't try and get as much as you can.
Just aim high. Just go for what you enjoy, not what you are good at, what you enjoy, and look into that, because you might not be good at something in school and you enjoy it, but then in the world of work it could be completely different, and that's what you enjoy.